Everyone is the best man. Okay, guys, I'm going live. Team one, please start. You have 15 minutes to explain the entire thing. Team one, please start.
This meeting is being recorded.
Which team one?
Okay, guys.
We?
Yes, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
we are.
The team
Okay.
one is basically, I can put it out
Yeah.
for you. Team one is the team of Abu Bakr, Ayub, Mehroz, Ahmad Bilal, Naveed, Uzair. Team two is Fahim, Kamal, and others. Okay, please go ahead. You have 15
Okay.
minutes.
Now the time starts. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we have first the first phase actually is the organization. So we have this. Uh, so from the organization we have OPA, EEF actually, infrastructure, environment, lesson learned, repository policies, etc. Actually, and then we have the organization strategy. We have portfolios, can have programs, and after that projects. So project comes in a pre-project phase that's separate. So we have a PMOs, directive, control, supportive, organizational types. Actually, we are having functional, metrics, projectized, virtual, or freelance. We have the government governance. We have steering committee, phase gates, compliance, quality, legal, environmental, sign-off audits, change management, training plans, target artifacts, continuous improvement. So we have retrospective, TACI, Kaizen, PDCA, cultural continuous improvement, better design, A/B testing, net promoter score. Process improvement is Six Sigma, lean, and variance analysis. So that's a general overview of the organizational part. Now we come to the project part. It's a pre-project phase. Project is not approved. Then we have actually the need assessment. We do the first the need assessment. Then we have the values and case of the business, NPV, ROI, and other. Then we have the management, actually benefit management plans, actually tangible, and we calculate, and then tangible and intangible values, benefit cost analysis. And then we have the project phase. So once the project is approved, we have the project charter. So the project charter. So we have first, I would go for the project life cycle actually. So we have the life cycle of predictive, incremental, iterative, and I would say the agile actually, hybrid, and other. And normally we have some planning methods actually, that's off to the topic, but just the techniques that we have progressive, elaborated planning, rolling wave, adaptive. So moving on to the next part, we identify the stakeholder. So we have then logged it in the stakeholder registers. Then we have make the engagement plan. And in that engagement plan, we do the assessment with the power, interest, grid, salience model, and the 3D. Actually, there is another model that we do, and the stakeholder engagement metrics. After that, we made, so we know unaware, aware, or resistant. And then we have the managed stakeholder. We manage that stakeholder part and monitor stakeholder. We both have a repetitive cycle actually that you can go from manage and monitor to identify. Then we have the communication. It's pretty straightforward, but we try to wrote. So plan communication management, management communication, monitor communication. Then we have risk management. We identify risk in the risk register, plan qualitative and quantitative. And then we do the response, negative and positive. It can be more elaborated. Procurement management plan is the make or buy selection. And then after that, we do the source selection criteria. Select the contract type, advertise, bid, and seller proposal. After that, we close. Meanwhile, in the parallel, we have procurement state of work. If we have any conflicts, then we do the negotiation, mediation, and code. Then we have the resource management. We have 4 M's where we identify. So after that, we have the project estimation, develop, training, and this. So we develop the team actually, Tuckman ladder organization theory is actually actualized in here, XY model or RACI. Then I would like to go to the Agile. Let's say I am working, or we are saying in the Agile. So we have Agile, the team techniques from the Tuckman team techniques, sorry. The Agile values, there are 4 values actually of the Agile, which is very important. And Agile is having like XP, Kanban, Lean, Lease, or many other, but we are focused to the Scrum. So Scrum, we have some general stuff, information radiators we have. We have artifacts, that is a sprint backlog, product increment, that is very important. And the roles, we have Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Development Team. in the start, we have the sprint planning where we do the estimation technique actually. Sorry, before that, actually, the product owner do the maintain the product backlog and it do the prioritize the user stories with some of the meta dot voting, 100 points more score. User story consists of 3 C's, which is written at the back of that, called also acceptance criteria. Everything is based on DoD, definition of done. Sprint planning is having the estimation techniques that is with Fibonacci estimation, ideal, Weidman, Delphi, and after that, actually, the estimation is done. Then we have the sprint backlog that could have 3 weeks or 4 weeks of sprint. After that, we have, in the meanwhile, going on the product backlog refinement session, daily stand-up, 15 minutes, a sprint review is going on. And the sprint review output is the shippable increment. Sprint retrospective is performed afterwards. We have, I just wrote set the stage and close the retro, but we have 4 points in the middle. And yeah, so that's the Agile. And now moving to the next one. So we done with the resource management plan. Then we have scope. Now we have to define the baselines. So we have scope is the first. That is the collect requirements. We have the requirement documents. We have functional and non-functional. Then we do this RTM matrix actually. Statement of work is generated and then the work background structure is made. We have plan scope actually. We have scope management, requirement management plan. And in scope management, we have project requirement, product requirement. And after that, we have deliverables, which is important. And how we do the quality control of the deliverable is verify delivery. And then we have validate scope and accept or reject by the customer. If it's not, or in the middle comes the change request and this procedure is revised. And then we have the closing. So that is the scope. And after that, we have schedule. So we have the schedule management plan. And
is that if someone else can lead from here, you have been sharing multiple things. It will be great. As I said, one of the rules that multiple team members have to do. So please, other team members, assign it.
So Naveed, so I can start.
Yeah.
Okay, define activities. In the define activities, we proceed towards the decompose work package. In the work package, we have activity list, activity attributes, and milestones. In the dependencies, we have internal, external, and in internal, we have mandatory, discretionary, and preferred. Activity estimation techniques in we have analogous, parametric, bottom up, and 3 points. Now coming to the schedule management plan, tool and techniques. Schedule compression technique, it comes here, crashing and fast tracking. In the resource optimization, leveling and smoothing. Going to other side. Yeah, integration management plan, is it? Okay, cost. Cost comes here, cost management plan, estimation, and cost baseline. And in the cost baseline, first we proceed towards the project estimation. Estimation have a definitive rough order magnitude and the phase estimations. Cost baseline, second line is a tool and technique in which we have funding limits and financing, contingency reserves, and earned value management. In earned value management, we have the terms like SPI, CPI, CV, earned value, and PV.
Yes.
So quality is plan quality management, manage quality, control quality, and the validate scope. Integration management plan. In integration, we have identify and correct gaps, encapsulate the overall project plan, PMIS, change management plan, and configuration management plan. Closing. So the last but not the least, I think, project document, lesson learned, EEF and OPL, and close procurement, celebration success, release resource, and close project charter.
Okay. What else? What else, team?
Yeah, just done it.
Yeah.
Mr. Uzair?
Yeah.
Finished?
That's
Yes, you completed in 10
if
minutes.
anything remaining, just please show it
okay.
to me.
We didn't went inside the details, so it's just an overview, but not detail.
It's okay. Well done. Well done. Your mind map, let me give you feedback here. Your mind map was very good insight and overall summary of how we need to make it. Okay. So this was a good one. Well done. So let's have a clap for team one. Okay. You can ask question later on. No, not now. Okay. Team 2, Fahim, Kamal, Priyesh, Shaji, Suresh Babu. Please share your mind now. Fahim, Kamal, Priyesh, Shaji, Suresh Babu. Yes, please continue. Yes.
Saji, you want to start?
Yes, I can start. Can just go to the first one.
Fundamentals.
Okay, the fundamentals, just zoom it a little bit. Okay, so starting with the fundamentals, we have the organization strategies, that is the project, programs, and portfolios. We have the organization types, that is the projectized, the functional matrix, which is divided into weak, balanced, strong, virtual, and hybrid. Just scroll up. Suresh, just scroll up. Yeah. Then we have the PMO, which are of 3 types, that is supportive, directive, controlling. And we have the business documents, which are the business case and benefit management plan. Then the first step we go for the project is the need assessment. Then we have the leadership type, that is a laissez-faire, transactional, servant leader, transformational, charismatic interaction, where the servant leader is the most preferred. And we have the processes 5 that are the initiation, planning, executing, monitoring, control, and closing. And we have the knowledge areas, that the integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resource team, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. Then we have the different project life cycles that are predictive, adaptive, which is again incremental and iterative, and we have the agile and the hybrid mode. And we also do the tailoring to suit as per the requirement of the organization. Then we have the flow chart, where we have the initial, there's a project vision, which is defined by the project need. Then we have the information into the project case, and we prepare the business management plan, where we go ahead to know if we can have the project done or not. Then once it is finalized, we get into the project charter by the sponsor, and he approves it with the assignment of a project manager. And the project manager gets the right to allocate the resources and starts with preparing the plans, and he makes a kickoff planning with the teams to discuss the requirements and the scope of the project. And if a consensus is not, we have a fist of 5, Roman voting, polling, and dot voting to come to a consensus. Then we have the constraints in the project, that is the triple constraint, which is of the 3 elements, that is the cost, scope, and time. And the others may come into picture as requirement of the scope of the project, that is the risk, quality, resources, and many other that are the focal points of the project. Then we have the stakeholder process, where the first we do is the stakeholder, identify the stakeholder. Then we create the stakeholder register, where we put the details of the stakeholders. And if a new stakeholder is identified later in the project, we add it over here. That's the first point we do when we get a new stakeholder. Then we have the tools to collect the information, that is using questionnaires for a larger group, brainstorming, meeting, focus group for the experts of 8 to 10. Then we have interviews for 1-to-1. Then we have the stakeholder analysis, where we analyze the stakeholder basis on his interest, rights, ownership, knowledge, contribution, which makes us into the point where we require how much we have to devote for that stakeholder. The stakeholder classification goes into internal and external. And also we have the mapping of the stakeholders. It's mapped according to power and interest, power and influence, impact and influence, stakeholder, what is that, Stalin's model. And this is where we have the relativity of each stakeholder according to the power, influence, and that. Then we have the direction of the influence which the stakeholder can have, that is the upward into the organization, downward in the organization, sideways, that is peer, and outwards, what's out of the organization. Then we go to the stakeholder planning, as a plan stakeholder, that's exactly where we have the output as the stakeholder engagement plan, and also we get the stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. The sponsor approves the stakeholder engagement plan, and then we have the engagement levels, that are the unaware, resistive, neutral, leading, supportive, where we try to move the stakeholder from the unaware to the leading. Then we have the managed stakeholders, where we really do the work of implementing the stakeholder, where we have the tools which you use as a Kanban board, the review engagement levels, and then we collaborate with the stakeholders, use engagement strategies, management skill. Here is where we get engaged with the stakeholders. And then we closely monitor the stakeholders according to throughout the project, and where we use the PMS as the tool. And here's where we find if the stakeholders engagement level is moved or not. And based on that, we make changes on the stakeholder engagement matrix assignment. And below we have the
Resources.
teams.
Team.
Teams
Let
where
others,
we are the.
let other people.
Okay, Suresh, you can take over.
Okay. Yeah. On the team, normally we use the Tuckman ladder model, and where we have the forming, storming, norming, and performing and adjoining. And the team use the active listening concept, and in the emotional intelligence, we do the self-awareness, self-management, social skills, empathy, and motivation. And according to the theme organization theory, we have the theory is called Maslow-Harrisburg theory, X, Y, Z, expectancy in McLean that we follow. And from team, we also do a team building. We didn't specify what's there in team building, but for the conflict management of the team, we use the problem to solve, disagreement, argue, contest, fighting, crusade, world war, this de-escalation conflict. And the other techniques that we use is more self, more others, more self, less others, less self, more others, less self, less others. In the conflict resolution, we define the problem, explore and evaluate the alternative, and select the best. We also identify the cause of a conflict using competition, disagreement, and communication breakdown. And in the team, we consider the diversity, requirement of culture, politics, and geography. And we also build the team charter, and which includes the ground rules. And in the team decision making, follow the brainstorming, fist of five, planning, poker, retrospective, voting methodologies. And for team training, we identify the training, we arrange training, conduct training, and get the training feedback, and evaluate the training to what extent it's being useful to the team. And the types of teams we have co-located and virtual, and the skills we just added as T-shaped skills that we identify. And we also identify the key performance indicators. So smart, specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant. So next is the Agile. Someone wants to take this?
Someone from his team?
Yeah, I can.
Kamal, if you can do it, Kamal,
Yeah, sure.
please.
The Agile concept consists of these items. First of all, there is Agile Charter, which includes product vision, product roadmap, story map, release planning, user stories. In user stories, obviously, we have card confirmation and conversation, the three C's that we call it. In story map, we have product backlog and prioritize product backlog, grooming, sprint planning. These are the steps related to following a story map. Then we have iteration sprint, daily stand-up, sprint review, sprint retro, and the questions that are asked in a daily stand-up, what was done, what is going to be done, and what are the hurdles. Yeah.
The principles.
Okay. In Agile, there are 4 values and 12 principles. The principles are satisfy customer. Can you scroll up a little bit? Can you scroll up a little bit?
Yeah, this one?
Yeah, just, okay, that's fine. Satisfy customer, welcome change, deliver your, okay. Deliver frequently, work together, trust support, face-to-face, working software, sustainable development, continuous attention, simplicity, self-organizing, adjust. Then we have 4 values: individual over processes, working software over documentation, collaboration over negotiation, and change versus plan or change over plan. The types are extreme programming, Crystal, DSM, SAFe, Scrum of Scrum. The roles involved in Agile are the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the developer team. Then we have prioritization. In prioritization, there are different techniques. We can use Moscow, Kano, 100 points, Monopoly, dot voting. We perform estimation on basis of ideal days, Fibonacci series, or affinity. Once we do the prioritization estimation, we have consents, planning poker, wideband. These are the techniques used, fist of five, rolling. Then we have velocity. The terminologies used are team velocity, sprint velocity, estimated velocity, actual velocity. Then information radiators, the charts that we use to display the information of project progress, Kanban, burn down chart or burn up chart, task board, definition of done, definition of ready. This is Agile. In quality, basically we have two main things: quality standards and quality management program. Quality management plan. In quality standards, we have organizational standards, external standards, and ISO standards. Depending what kind of standards we are supposed to comply with. And quality management plan includes cost of quality.
Someone else can start talking about cost.
Anyone taking it up?
Yes, can you do
Yeah,
that?
I can take it.
The cost.
I'll start from there. Yeah. So for the cost, the first is of cost management, the cost management. So from there it will come cost management plan, and we have tools like calculate analysis, meeting, and expert judgment. And coming to the estimation cost estimation estimates, and it will go to the work package cost estimation, then base estimation. Then we have tools like analog estimation, parametric, bottom up, then 3-point, that is triangular, PERT, and cost of quality. Come down, little down. So the determination of budget, that is cost baseline, that is the work package plus cost contingency reserve amount. Then coming to the tools, we have the cost aggregation, funding limit considerations, historical information, and financing. And coming to the cost control, we have cost forecast and work performance information. And here we have the TCPI variance and EVA tools, the calculations. So come down. Then these are the cost estimation, the cost formulas. We have different formulas here. And next, so that's all. And next is that's all.
Anyone wants to take up the scope?
Fahim, can you work in that? And guys, you have 2 more minutes. Already you are running out of time. So Fahim, you have to, would you like to do that? Fahim?
Yeah, the little bit scroll up. Plan, scope management plan, requirement management plan. Then we go for collect requirements documentation, requirement traceability matrix, tools and techniques, brainstorming, interviews, workshop, focus group, questionnaire, benchmarking, storyboarding, and value stream mapping. Scroll little bit. Scroll up. Define scope, then a project scope, statement, tools, alternative analysis, decision making, facilitation, product analysis, filter the requirement, we put Moscow, scroll it up a little bit. Then we go by create WPS scope baseline, approve WPS dictionary, and product scope statement, WPS approval, validate scope, WPS dictionary. Then we go for tool decomposition, WPS control account, planning package, work package. Then we go for validate scope, accepted deliverable, tool, decision making, and inspection. Then we go for control scope, work preference, information, tools, data analysis. Then we go for requirement types, stakeholder requirement, solution requirement, functional requirement, non-functional requirements, transitional requirement, legal and compliance. Then we go for product scope, and data representation, mind mapping, infinity diagram, storyboarding, context diagram, prototyping, value stream mapping. I think this is the end.
And this is the end of your time also. Thank you guys. Thank you. It was fabulous. I love the way how this team basically coordinated with each other and how they explained everything. So this is something that I am looking for more towards other team also. We don't want one person sharing the entire thing. We want every single team member participating in it and sharing what he knows. No one is right here, no one is wrong. All of you are learning it for the first. Okay, I guess I'm the only one certified PMP here, and I'm happy to be. So, no issue. Let's keep moving. Let's keep rolling. Group number 3: Ali, Imran, Nargis, Laha, Talha, Zubair. Please share your screen. Okay, please go ahead. Please
Okay, Imran?
Yes, sir. You want me to? Yeah. Can you just zoom out and maximize? Yeah, just a little bit zoom in, please.
Okay.
Zoom in, zoom in. Yeah, we talked about the fundamentals. Yeah, scroll down. Yeah, in the fundamentals, we talked about the project charter. Project charter is about which contains the objective, high-level requirements, assumption constraint, and the key stakeholders. We talk about the benefit management plan and the selection technique, business case, and the business value about the IRR and the opportunities and the payback period. And we talked about, come down, please. And we talked about the organizational project management, OPS and the EAF, Pastoral TCOP, OKA, and the OPS tool templates, policies, process, and the lesson learned. We talk about the type of organization, project, functional, and the matrix. Matrix, again, strong, balance, and the weak. And again, we had talked about the environment of the organization, where the portfolio, programs, and strategy, and the PMOs comes, and the portfolio is including of the programs and the project and operation. Program is the related projects, and the PMOs are the directive, supportive, and controlling. And we talked about the project governance. And the process groups are the initiative, planning, execution, monitoring, and control, and closing. And next is the life cycle of the project, which is predictive, incremental, iterative, agile, so hybrid. And in the agile, we talked about the the Manifesto of Agile and the 12 principles, which are important both. And Scrum, XP, Lean. And the Scrum, we talked about Scrum team, which consists of the product owner, Scrum master, development team. Product owner is the voice of the customer, Scrum master is the coach. Development team is to be there to execute the work. And the user stories. And then we go for the product backlog, and we prioritize their backlog. And we talk about the sprint planning with the sprint team, the product owner, and the stakeholder manager, the Scrum manager. And then the sprint takes place, and we talk about the velocity there, and then the sprint backlog, where we discuss and we get the feedback from the customer. And also we talk about the retrospective, where we speak about what went with the sprint right, wrong, and to improve. So next we went to the come down, please, down. Next one, yeah. Down, the project constraint, the scope, cost, resources, quality, time, customer satisfaction. Down, please. And the next is the cost. So in the cost, we talked about the cost baseline, cost budget, and the estimate cost. Types of cost we discussed: the cost baseline, which consists of the project budget and the contingency reserve, and the cost budget consists of the project, the cost baseline plus management reserve. And we talk about the estimation technique, the parametric analysis bottom up, and the 3-point, and we talk about cost analysis, where we have the planned value, earned value, cost, actual cost, SPI, CPI, BAC, AC, and TCPI. And in the scope, we know about the project scope and the product scope and the work breakdown structure, and for the correct requirements. And we have further about the control scope and the validate scope, where in the validate scope, the output is the accepted deliverables, which will go to the closing of the project. And we have discussed communication management. In the communication management, we talk about sender, receiver, and the feedback. And we talk about the communication, the technology models and the methods, and how important is the interpersonal and the team skills, and how this results in the work performance information, which is very important for all the monitoring and control process. We talk about the team and the resources, which is the manpower, material, machinery, and money. We resource planning, we do the activity resource, and acquire the resource, development team, management team, control resources, discuss about the RSA chart. And we have know about the motivation theory, theory X, Y, Z, Maslow, and the acceptance theory, and the conflict management.
Can you give someone else now?
Yeah, sure. Ali, can you proceed?
Yeah, then we talked about the conflict management, and afterwards we have the stakeholder management plan. And stakeholder management plan, we have to identify the stakeholders and put it in the stakeholder register. Then we have stakeholder analysis. In stakeholder analysis, we do influence metrics, power grid, stakeholder mapping, stakeholder classification, stakeholder engagement strategy. Then we have managed stakeholder engagement. That is how we engage them with our interpersonal skills, with our team skills. The project manager should have negotiation skills to meet up the different situation in the entire project. Then he has to do some conflict management between the stakeholders. And then he use its influence technique to get the results of to keep project on track. Then we have monitor stakeholder engagement. There are multiple of them: high level of interest, lower level of interest, and then we have risk management plan. In risk management plan, we identify risk and put them into the risk register. Then for unidentified risk, if that come into the project, then we put it into the issue log and do the RC against them. And then we have probability and impact of the risk of the other parameters as well. Then we have risk analysis. In risk analysis, it's two kind of analysis: quantitative risk analysis and qualitative risk analysis. In quantitative, we use techniques like tornado, influence, affinity diagram, and Monte Carlo analysis. Then we have risk response. These are of two types: positive and negative. In positive, we accept risk, enhance, share, exploit, and escalate. And whereas in negative, we avoid, mitigate, transfer, and escalate. Then we implement risk response. Then we monitor risk by doing audits and sharing work performance information with the management. And the change request is generated and forward to the change control board. Okay. Then we have, I guess we have covered this. That's it, sir.
It was quite quick.
Yep.
What topic you missed?
We have missed.
You have
We
cost.
have missed the quality. We have missed the procurement.
Yeah.
We have missed the
Change management.
And what is the reason? And what is the reason for that?
Lack of time.
No, lack of time is an excuse. It was not a reason, Nargis.
We were aware of the procurement and quality we were missing, but as I said in the beginning, we needed more time.
No, the batch 2 had the group 2 had the same time, group 1 had the same time.
Yeah, you're right.
Your time management was a problem, my friend.
Yes.
Guys, just remember one thing. PMP exam is an exam of only two things: knowledge and time management. 99% of the students who appear in the PMP exam, they have almost the same knowledge. The people who failed is only because of second reason. Your mind map was, I was enjoying it actually, because your mind map was the most detailed one, and suddenly it ended. Okay. So guys, this is an important thing that you will learn in doing questions, and also especially doing simulated questions. It's not about how you understand the question. If you have time, you have to complete the question. There is no negative marking in the PMP. There is no negative marking in the PMP. That's an important concept to understand. And as a project manager, you need to mention that. Being said that, let's go with the group number 4. Room 4, Hasib, Ifi, Shoaib, Munindra, Nisar, and I will highly appreciate if you give like time for every team member, if everyone has a single opportunity. This seems a good mind map. Please start.
All right. So we'll start with the fundamentals. We have added here need assessment, based on which the business case, benefit management plan, and project charter is created. Under the business case, we have value analysis, and then we move towards the other organization stuff like EE, F, OPS, types of the organizations can be projectized, functional, matrix organizations. Then we move towards the PMO, that can be sportive, controlling, directive. And the project management plan is created after that. And then the portfolio, that the programs, the projects can be the agile, predictive, incremental, iterative. And under the portfolio, we have also added the operations. And we have added types of leaders. There are 6 types of leaders that we have listed down here. Then we added the stakeholders. Under the stakeholders, we have identified the stakeholders, prepared the stakeholder register, prepared the stakeholder engagement plan. And then we move towards the stakeholder engagement assessment metrics and identify the stakeholders who are unaware, sportive, resistant, neutral, etc. Then the stakeholders, the classification can be upward, downward, sideward, internal or external. Then the classification can be done based on the power influence matrix, stakeholder cubes, salience model. And based on that, whatever the stakeholder will come, they can be managed either closely, like with the high power, high interest, and then informed, satisfied, monitor.
We can go to the next one.
Should we? Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it from here. Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, then we have the risk, in which we have first we have the identify and prepare risk register, in which we have the risk analysis, which are divided into 2 parts, qualitative and quantitative, in which we have in qualitative we have the high, medium, low based on probability and impact. Quantitative, it has decision tree analysis, it has tornado sensitive analysis, a sequence of occurrence, and it has influence diagram. Then we come down to the risk response strategy, in which we plan the implementation. And then in the implementation, we have residual risk, it has a secondary risk, and it has a contingency or fallback plan. Then we have the risk owner risk plan, in which we have the negative and positive, in which the negative one has avoid, mitigate, transfer, accept, and escalate. The positive analysis, the positive plan has exploit, enhance, share, accept, and escalate. In risk, then we come down to risk report, in which we have the project risk. And then we also have the risk management plan, in which we have the reviews and audits for the risk. Then we have the monitor risk log. Can you put down the slide? Yeah, okay. Yeah, then we have the communication. In communication, we have the communication management plan. It has the 4 R's and the 7 C's. Then we have the types of communication, that is pull, push, interactive. We have distinguishing between formal and informal. In communication, we also have the lesson learned, and also the part of it will be data gathering and analysis, in which we have the variance analysis. We also have the distinguishing between virtual teams. Anybody else want to take up from here?
I will take this. Yeah. Hey, please, easy control if you.
Okay, I can do teams. Do you want me to go? Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Okay. And so with teams, we talked about, the resource management plan. That's also can be further channeled into the team charter, the norms and rules. And then we also have the estimates, identify, acquire, develop, manage, and control. We also have the RAM and RASI, and then we have the resource calendars. We also have the Tuckman ladder, where we're talking about the forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjoining phases. We also talked about the conflict management, and there you have the problem to solve, disagreement, contest, crusade, world war. We have the techniques, the smoothing, collaborating, withdrawal, force, and compromise. And then we have, of course, emotional intelligence. And then we also have the training and mentoring and coaching piece, where we have the team performance assessment, we have KPIs, and then we have the team leaders. Scroll up, please. I can start the Agile, or someone wants to take the Agile?
Yeah, I will start the Agile.
Okay.
So in the Agile, we have taken the broader picture, and we have started with the Agile Charter and vision, product roadmap, release criteria, and the daily catch-ups, daily stand-up meetings. So, and then there are 12 principles, and they are in the manifesto. There are 4 manifestos that are there. Then we have focused mostly on the Scrum. In the Scrum, there are 3 roles which are there: the product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. And then there are product artifacts, in which product backlog, iteration, and sprint retrospective is there. Further, we have divided the product backlog into Moscow dot voting 100 points, and the sprint duration are mostly 1 to 4 weeks. The story points per time is velocity, and the daily stand-up and sprint review or the demonstration is also there. And at the end, the customer, along with the product owner, they do the sprint retrospective. The user stories are divided into invest and the estimations. So in which we have considered the ideal hours, affinity Fibonacci series, lead time, and the cycle time. Then we have gone to the Kanban board, in which is also a kind of display unit, in which there are 7 waste, in which we try to remove the waste. And in the Kanban board also, we try to limit the work in process, and we pull the user stories. Then there are other methods of in Agile, like XP and pair programming, in which 2 persons are there, and they do so that they reduce the timelines. The test-driven development and feature-driven development. We have considered 2 charts, burn up chart and burn down chart, which shows the progress or what is the work that is remaining. And then we go further down. So we have come to the scope. So should I continue scope, or somebody else want to do the scope?
Okay, I will take it from this. In the scope, basically, first of all, we collect the requirements. For this, we have the requirement management plan. We have 2 types of the requirements: the project requirements and the product requirements. In the product requirements, we have the functional requirements and non-functional requirements. In the project requirement, we divide it into the different requirements like stakeholder requirements and etc. Then we go to the product scope and we explain the scope. After the scope, we make the scope statement, and from the scope statement, we decompose it into the WBS, work breakdown structure. In work breakdown structure, we have different levels. The least or the smallest level is called work package. Above this one is the planning package, and in the planning package comes in the control account. So we have the WBS dictionary to give the code of accounts and each and everything of the WBS. And this scope statement, WBS and WBS dictionary, this became the scope baseline. And in the scope, we need to avoid scope creep and gold plating. Scope creep is the addition of the scope without going to any change plan. Then in the scope, we have the validate scope where the verified deliverables will come, and after the validation with the customer, according to the definition of done, we go for the accepted deliverables. The next topic is the schedule. First of all, we make the schedule management plan, and we take the same WBS and we further decompose it to the activity level. From activity level, we sequence the activities. We have different dependencies like finish to start, start to finish, finish to finish, and start to finish. From this, we make a presidency diagram. In presidency diagram, we make basically the we define the critical path, and we define the leads and lag. From this, we get basically the schedule. And we have 2 techniques to maintain the schedule. One is a schedule compression. If the schedule is going high, if we want to reduce the schedule or optimize the schedule, we do crashing and fast tracking. In crashing, we basically add resources, like we add extra overtime and resources. And in fast tracking, we make these schedules parallel. The next is the resource optimization, in which we are optimizing the resource. Like we are maintaining the schedule on the basis of the resource. If the resources are very much important, we do the resource leveling. And in the resource leveling, this critical path can increase. And the next is the resource smoothing, in which we optimize the resource according to their availability. So someone will take from the here, or I will go. So, okay, the next is the cost. In the cost, we have the cost management plan. In the cost management plan, basically, what we define in the activity, we estimate the cost of for each activity. We have different estimation techniques like bottom-up estimation, parametric estimation, and analogous estimation. So for each activity, we define the cost, and we define some contingency reserves, and the same we go for the control accounts. And this will become all activities, and contingency account will become the control account. We add the contingency reserves on this one also, and it will become the cost baseline. And on the cost baseline, when we add the management reserves, this will become the budget of the project. If we need to use the management reserves, we need the change. Basically, we need change management plan. The next is quality. In the quality, we basically manage the quality, and the quality management plan is also called as the business analysis plan. And in business environment, we have
last 2 minutes.
In the business environment, we define the governance, we define the compliance and change management plan and configuration management plan. In the closing, we basically make all the data, and we make work performance data, we convert it into work performance information, and from work performance information, the project manager will make one final report and formally close the project. And project can be closed because of the different other reasons, and these are and after that we celebrate.
So now it's the time to celebrate. Well done. This was just fabulous. I love the way, like, your coordination was at high level. That was just awesome. Every single team member really did an excellent job. Hasib, Iffy, Munindra, Nisar, Sheikh, everyone knew their thing. Like, you have already planned, this one will do, this one. So this was very good. So very done. Next team and last team. Now I understand this team has set a high bar, but let's do our best and let's see how we can do it. Team 5, please. Team 4, stop your screen, please. Yeah, team 5.
Yes, in T5, I was there, and some 4 members are also there. So in fundamentals, we start from PMO. 3 type of PMO: sportive, controlling, and reactive. Then the portfolio, program, and projects. In project environment can be impact OPA, EF. Then type of organization: project organization, functional, and matrix. In matrix, weak matrix, strong matrix, and balanced matrix. Further, we have business document, business case, and benefit management plan. Then project life cycles: predictive, adaptive, and hybrid. In adaptive, iterative, increment, and agile. Then project charter. The next topic.
I will go ahead.
The next. Yes, you can.
Okay, so next topic here we have a stakeholder. So first we identify stakeholder, then we do stakeholder register, and then we have a classify. Then we have a downward, sideways, and external, internal, and yeah, upward also. After that we have another branch is we have a power, interest, influence matrix. Then we have a silence model. Here we have power, legitimacy, urgency, tools and techniques. So here in tools and techniques, we have different tools and techniques like expert judgment, data gathering, data analysis, 2-dimensional grid. After that, we have stakeholder engagement plan. In stakeholder engagement plan, we have stakeholder assessment matrix, communication, and one more branch from stakeholder is stakeholder management plan and a stakeholder monitor. Next we have Srinivas, can you go ahead next, please?
So in the communication, we have a communication management plan first, and in that we authorize to share, authorize to receive, and the communications are verbal and non-verbal, and formal, informal, which includes medium, a number of channels, internal and external. And the communication is managed using the technologies, method, skills and competencies, and cultural awareness. And the communication is monitored using variance analysis and team skill. And the types of communications, which includes 7 C's and 4 R's, which is like right to format, right to time, right people, and right impact.
Then we have Agile.
So Agile, do you want me to continue?
Maybe Swat
Yes,
can go ahead.
yes, you can continue.
So Agile, we follow the Scrum. So the user stories and product backlogs and prioritization, we use Kanu model, 100 points in Moscow, and we do estimate the story points based on idle days, Fibonacci series, planning poker, and whiteboard definition. And the processes that are included as part of Agile or Crystal, feature-driven, dynamic system, and XP. And the roles coming to the Scrum, so the roles that are involved are the product owner, Scrum Master, and the development team. And the events that takes place in the Scrum are like sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. And the three pillars which in the Scrum are like transparency, inspection, and adaptation. And the values of Agile are individual interaction, customer collaboration or contract negotiation, and respond to changes, and working software. And we do have 12 principles in the Agile, and we do use Kanban charts.
So I will go with the risk.
Yep.
Yeah. So after risk, in risk, we first identify the risk, then we have a risk register, and then risk analysis. And in risk analysis, we have two parts, qualitative and quantitative. In qualitative, we have a high, medium, and low. In quantitative, we have a tools. In tools, we do the Tornado and Monte Carlo influence diagram, and we have a sensitive diagram. Then we go with the other techniques from identifying risk. In the techniques, we have a SWOT, PESTEL, assumption log, and RCA, root cause analysis. And in risk, we have other branches like risk management plan, and then we unidentified. Then it's a issue log. We have a risk audit and risk review meetings. Again, we have one more branch of from the risk is risk response plan. In risk response plan, we have a positive risk, negative risk, and in positive and one more residual risk and secondary risk. In positive risk, we have a strategy. In strategy, the positive risk strategy is exploit, enhance, and share, accept. In negative risk strategy, we have avoid, mitigate, transfer, and accept. So I will go ahead with the quality.
Yes, you can go.
Yeah. So in quality, we have this quality management plan. In quality management plan, we do with the Pareto chart, scattered diagram, histogram, and flow chart. Again, we have a cost of quality. In cost of quality, we go with the cost of conformance, cost of non-conformance, and in quality matrix, we have a SMART.
Okay, then is the resource and team. In resource, there are 4 type of resource: material, manpower, machinery, and money. Then Techman ladder for the team management: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Then there is a team charter, which team define the rule. Then organization theory, Malus hierarchy, Harbis theory, and Margus theory of X, Y, and expectancy theory. Then emotional quotient, yeah, emotional. Here is a self-awareness, self-management, understand other, empathy, motivation. Then there is a conflict management. In conflict management, there is 4 avoidance or withdraw, smoothing, forcing, and confronted. Then RESI chart. This is all over, I think, with us.
So that was good. Well done, team 5. So round of applause for team 5. And one time round of applause for all of you for giving such an awesome effort. Let me just stop the recording.